in the front, cruising down the freeway in the hot, hot sun.
1 in 4 New Zealanders are living with some form of disability. Those are the numbers. So the government is undertaking an important review of our disability strategy, starting with the launch of this video to encourage people to share their views.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
I too have a voice.
We got a voice here.
Join the conversation.
Help make New Zealand a better place to live. For you. And me. And me.
And me.
And me.
Join the conversation and help make New Zealand a better place to live.
Well, with us this morning is the Minister for Disability Issues, Nicky Wagner, and Victoria Manning, who's on an expert panel advising the government. Good morning to you both. Good morning. I'll start by talking to you, Minister. The strategy. Do we have a formal one at the moment? How old is it?
Yes, the original strategy was launched in 2001, and it was world-leading at that time. But the world has moved on and the thinking about disability has changed, particularly since New Zealand has led the United Nations Convention on the Rights for Disabled People.
Has it also changed the awareness of how many people in New Zealand have a disability? 1 in 4 seems like a very high number, so what are we talking?
Yes, I think it takes people by surprise. That's 1 in 4 as identified themselves through the census, and I think as we get an ageing population, more elderly people tend to have a disability. Also, a lot of disabilities you'll never see, so people don't know they're there.
Victoria, you're chairing this advisory group. What is the purpose for you of a strategy?
Disabled people want to see change. We want to see improvements. We want the same opportunities, the same access, just as everybody else. The same thing that you do, Rawdon, and the same thing that everyone else can do. And it's just getting those barriers out of the way and having an equality life.
How hard is it to break these barriers down? I think for yourself, I think of Mojo May, that must have broken a lot of barriers down. But do we not appreciate how hard it is?
That's right. One way definitely is improving a few things. Attitude is one of those examples, and awareness. An example could be patronising. I find that I've been patronised a lot less, but I've had a lot of other barriers, policies and funding. That's another barrier that I have, and almost myself contributing to society.
Let's talk about the policies and funding issues, because, Minister, with such a broad range and a wide-ranging number of people, 1 in 4 with a disability in New Zealand, from the very small to the very disabled, how difficult is it to reach everyone, to help everyone?
Well, there is a large amount of funding, obviously, going into disability. Some people don't need any funding at all. Some people need a lot of funding. We're working our way through that. We think that the government spends something between $4.2 and $5 billion a year on disability. A
large amount, but not enough.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a matter of using that as wisely as possible.
How's the funding allocated? Is it giving people the choice of how to spend out of a pot, or is it much more specific than that on the whole? I'm thinking particularly with equipment, let's say.
Yeah. Well, we're actually moving towards more choice and more opportunities for disabled people, and we have a program called Enabling Good Lives, which means that they can bring all their funding together in one pool: health, education, Ministry of Development, and they can use it as one.
And allow them to make the decisions, which is what you're talking about, Victoria, is empowering people with disabilities to be treated as an equal, rather than telling them what they should or they shouldn't have. Victoria, one area of concern which I've heard of recently, and that is the mental stress of not being able to communicate necessarily, particularly in difficult situations. I don't know, maybe if you've been arrested for something. How much focus is put on mental well-being of people with disabilities, rather than just the practical tools to be able to enable normal lives?
I think people don't realise how much there are barriers in everyday lives. Like you say, you can go to different things and go to different meetings. I'm finding every step I have every day there's another barrier. And it's simple things, going to the bank, going to the doctors. Those things can create a lot more mental stress on myself. And we just want the same access as everyone else in New Zealand.
Which is why we're looking at this new national strategy. I'll just give you the details here. Public consultation open until the 22nd of May. If you want to get involved, anyone can get involved in this to try and build up this new New Zealand disability strategy. Thank you very much indeed, Minister Nikki Wagner. Thank you, Victoria Manning, for coming in, and also Noreen, who's been acting as our sign interpreter this morning. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.